Hello students, welcome to the next session of cloud computing reference model. Since you would have heard about a lot about cloud computing, their architecture, their networks, there are a lot of things that we would see in cloud computing. So you would also see few reference models also with regards to the cloud computing. So I'm just taking through the practical session. Like I'm not going to explain in completely in depth of theoretical. So based on the cloud infrastructure, so I would be explaining this particular session. So if you see this particular diagram, okay, so this is one of the important diagrams. So here we see the cloud infrastructure. So we see service management, and we also see business continuity, security, and there are different layers that is available. That is service layer, service orchestration layer, control layer, and physical layer. So each of these layers has its own features, performances, and features that we would be able to see. Very importantly, if I'm saying the main characteristics and looking into this particular function of cloud computing environment is speaking more about the partitioning of and the abstraction of layers and cross layers functions is something that we would be seeing more in this particular cloud reference model. So basically, what we have is there are five logical layers, okay, and we have three cross-layer functions. So what are those? If I'm speaking from the beginning, that is cloud computing layer. So cloud computing layers are the layers are like physical layer. It's like a bottom-up approach. So we just go from the bottom. Physical layer, control layer, service orchestration layer, and service layer. So what is the main thing that we would be able to see in a physical layer? So this is one of the foundation layer. If I'm saying it is the foundation layer of a cloud infrastructure. And very importantly, what happens is it specifies the entries that operates in this particular layer, and it also have three particular components in this. That is, one is compute system, network devices, and we also have a storage devices. So what it does in this is it operates the environment protocol tools and processes in this particular physical layer. And the main important things, there are two different things here. One is the technical, another one is the functional layer that we call it as. Functions of the physical layer. So what we see here is it executes the request generated by the virtualization, and also what it does is it also controls the layer. Very important. So what we do is in the normal computer fundamentals, the input what we give, what happens, the control unit controls the data or the signal that has been sent by the by the user. Similarly, even here also, the person, the end user, whoever uses this cloud computing or the cloud infrastructure, so at the first thing is it captures, it controls, it actually generates the virtualization, and also produces the control layer. So that's the main impact of the physical layer. And then next, going with virtual layer. And virtual layer, what we have is it actually we can also call this as virtual machines. Okay, virtual machine in the sense creating the new environment. Okay, creating the new environment. Here we don't want any sort of Windows operating system physical device is not necessary. Perhaps what we can have is we can have the own machine that which can be created. So we can deploy the physical layer. So when I'm saying we can deploy the physical layer, means we can compute, network, storage, all these things can be, it is possible. So what majorly this operates in this virtual layer is which operates virtualization software, resource pools, then virtual resources. Everything is through online. Okay, so virtualization softwares, virtual resources, resource pools. So if I'm giving an example, you have a computer with you. So if you wanted to download anything physically, you will have to go to Google, or you have to download something. If you have the softwares in your CD, or you have it in your hard disk or in a pen drive, What you do is you try to insert that in your CPU or in the laptop, then you try to install the software. Similarly, what happens here is, since this is an imaginary, or this is virtually, the computers are getting deployed. Virtually, the computers are getting deployed. So with the help of a virtual machine. So when everything is happening virtual, so the software is what you get, what you're trying to install, that is also virtual. The software what you try to install is also virtual. So there are a lot of resource pools also that is available. The resource, virtual resources that is available through online. So you can install that and you can start using it. So your physical device is something that we are trying to overcome. And the next one is the functions of virtual layers. So what are the functions that is happening over here is, it enables multi-tenant environment. When I'm saying multi-tenant environment, in the sense, I'll give you an example. Here, when I'm saying virtual machines that can be deployed, that means it is not only for one person. So right now in the colleges or schools, what we have is, we have a lab, the lab dedicated for the students who can come during the lab hours, and they can start doing their, or execute their programs, the lab programs. So what we do here is, virtually we would be doing it. When I'm saying virtually, so you need to have your computer and you can get connected anywhere, whichever virtual machine that you have created with the Windows or Ubuntu or any operating system, that can be virtually, which can be generated and it can be used. Okay, so this is something, one of the uh, very important aspect. So we will overcoming all the physical devices. We come overcome all the physical devices, and we will be start using the virtual machines. Okay, so this is one of the important aspect, okay, of virtual layer. And then what we come is, we come across the control layer. So what we have in this is control layer. We're going to control the virtual layer, we're going to control the physical layer, we're going to control the softwares. Okay, we're going to control a lot many things when it comes to cloud infrastructure. So we're going to control a lot of things. We're going to collaborate it. We are trying to pull it. When I'm trying to pull, when I'm saying at a stretch. For example, in a class, like since we from Prestige College, we have 60 students who was in a class go to the lab. That means all 60 different people simultaneously can access this virtual machine. 60 different say in the Windows operating system, 60 different virtual machines can be generated. 60 different students can simultaneously access, they can execute it. Okay, so whatever things that we do in this control layer. Then what we have is service orchestration layer. So orchestration layer is something, and it is a new word. Okay, when it comes to a technical, yes, of course, it's a old word. Since we are coming across for the first time, so students could understand what is this orchestration. Orchestration is nothing but the workflow. Okay, it's workflow, how to automate it or how to execute the particular task. Okay, that's called orchestration. How it provides a workflow, how it executes the task. Okay, so basically it interacts with all the people. It interacts with all the people. It interacts with various entities, databases. It interacts with the end user, storage, networking, and all these things. It interacts. The flow from the beginning till the end, how the workflow works. Okay, that is something which operates. Okay, orchestration software. And the next layer, what we have is the service layer. So service layer, what it does is, it interacts with the end user and consumes the cloud resources. So when I'm saying cloud resources, we have so many like LAS, PaaS, SaaS. So which one of those services that you're trying to use? So if you could open Microsoft Azure or Google as Google Cloud or IBM Cloud or Oracle Cloud, or if you're trying to use AWS, since most of them are familiar with AWS, if you log in and get inside the AWS, we see hundreds of services that is available. So what do we do with all the services? So we can't use all the services at once. So perhaps what we would do is we use one by one. Okay. So interacts with consume law resource cloud resources with the help of all these layers. What are these layers that we are trying to use it? So service orchestration layer, control layer, physical layer, and virtual layer. So all these layers we'll be using it with the help of this service layer. Okay, and then what we have is cross layer functions. So what do you mean by this cross layer functions? So this cross layer functions is something like, it interacts, it proactively, what it does is it takes the measures whenever there's a downtime. Okay, I think I can give an example at this place. Every time when you're trying to use this online banking, when you're trying to use from the bank, you'll be getting an SMS saying that there is a downtime from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. There is a downtime, so don't use any of the services. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, so something like. So when we speak about this cross layer function, so what we do is most of the time it interacts. The cloud interacts with the software, and then it proactively says there will be a downtime. So there will be a downtime. So we will have to take some precaution. We have to try to resolve some issue. As and when we say cross layer, in the cross layer function, what we have is we have business continuity. So this business continuity is again, we call it as SLA. What do you mean by this SLA? Service level agreement. Service level agreement. For example, from Christi Jayanti College. Okay, so let's imagine I have an access with AWS, and I'm paying monthly, I'm paying huge revenue to them. So what happens is, if one of the service of Christi Jayanti College is not working, so immediately I will be calling them AWS saying that I have an issue, could you please resolve it? So they will be giving the SLA, whether based on the issue, they'll be segregating whether it is high, medium, or low. High, medium, or low. So they would be segregating that, and then they would be coming up with the service agreement. So let's say in 2 hours time it will be working. In 1 hour's time I'll be able to resolve the issue, or in half an hour's time I would be able to resolve the issue. That's called the business continuity. So that's what you would be able to see here. So fault tolerance mechanism, replication, backup, all these things that they would be doing here. So what happens here in the security? Okay, security is one of the important aspect as well. So what it does is it looks into the antivirus, it looks into the firewall, it looks into the various aspects of the security personals. So if I'm asking you, give me a debit card or give your credit card details, you won't, isn't it? Similarly, if I'm asking your Gmail account or your credentials of your banking, if I'm asking, so none of them would be ready to give your credentials to me provided. Similarly, even the cloud also. So your data, whatever you're trying to keep it over there in the database, it is secured one. So which will not be given to anyone. Okay, so that's one of the important aspect of the security. Okay, and then next what we come across is service management. In service management, what we have is service protocol management and service operation management. So service protocol management, so what we do is here we look into the roadmaps, we look into the service functions, so we look into the service level agreements, and a lot of service protocols also we'll be looking into. And we also look into the cost cutting, the budgeting, the pricing. So these are the things that we would be doing it. For example, if you're trying to order a product through Amazon, let's say, so there's a protocol, there's a flow that we have. So you log in into Amazon, then you look for the device what you want it, then you try to add that to the cart, then you try to pay the money for it, whether it would be cash on delivery or you're trying to pay through cash or debit card or credit card. Then what happens? Then the product will be it will be asking where the product has to be delivered. Once the product has been delivered, so they will also be, they before delivering, so they will also be generating the invoice number, tracking number, all these things that they would be doing it. Similar way, even the service management, the cloud infrastructure also provides a service management. Okay, so where's the product, what is it happening, what is the billing, what is your bill monthly, how much you have used, what are the services that you have used. So we'll have to pay them. Okay, that's the service management, that will detail in detail they will be providing all the details. Then we have service operation management. So what do we do in the service operation management? It's like, we are trying to provide infrastructure configuration is something that we would be doing it, and we are trying to resolve the problems. resolve the resolution, problem solutions, and we also look into the capacity and availability management that we would be looking into. Then we also looking into the compliances. So and looking when I'm saying compliances, it is something like we would be monitoring the cloud services, whatever we have opted. So whatever we have opted, so we will be looking into the cloud services as well. So this complete cloud reference model speaks about this particular architecture. So let me run through the PDF. What I am trying to give an explanation completely about this is this. So speaks about three different layers, the cloud computing layer, and that we have few layers that is available. And along with that, we have service orchestration layer, then service layer, and cross layer functions. In that we have few, that is business continuity and security, and then we have the last one, service management. In this we also have two, service portfolio management and service operation management. Okay, with this I would like to end the session for this particular cloud reference model. Okay, have a fruitful and be safe. Take care. Thank you.